Hey guys, this is Triple H Guy 2004. So here's my WWE All-Stars Monday Night Raw review for June. What's today's date? The 12th? June 13th. Sorry, June 13th, 2011. So we open up the show with The Miz coming out saying that he is cutting a promo saying that he is the WWE's all-star of ever. So he comes out and says he's going to beat Alex Riley at Capital Punishment. He also says that he is going to call out Stone Cold Steve Austin, which he does. Stone Cold Steve Austin, we hear the glass crashing. We see Stone Cold Steve Austin come out, and Stone Cold berates Miz for a little bit, and we see Austin pretty much put the verbal beat down, like I said, berate him. And then he basically, cuts a promo on him, and he tells him to shut up and get out of his ring so he can run Monday Night Raw like he's supposed to be, and that's his job. And then we hear Alberto Del Rio's music. Alberto Del Rio comes out and says that tonight he comes out and talks about his destiny and how he won, but Austin cuts him off, and he says that Austin's not a mind reader, and he doesn't have a crystal ball, and he can't see into the future, but he says that he believes that there's an ass whooping in his future. He asks Alberto if he feels good about what he did about injuring the Big Show, and he says someone's been waiting to put your hands on him since you hurt the Big Show. And Austin goes to the ropes and says, here's your opponent here tonight. We hear Kane's pyro go off, and it's Kane that comes out. So it's Alberto Del Rio versus Kane to the first match of the night. We see a back and forth matchup. Alberto Del Rio locks in that cross armbar thing he has. And the referee, Kane gets to the ropes, and Alberto Del Rio keeps the move in. As any wrestling fan knows, once opponent gets to the ropes and grabs a rope in a submission hold, or any other kind of hold, the wrestler must break the move, and the ref gives him a 5 count, and Alberto Del Rio didn't answer the 5 count, so the referee disqualified Alberto Del Rio, so the winner by disqualification was Kane. And so we see Alberto Del Rio is not happy about this, and he keeps the armbar in for a little bit, and then we hear the Big Show's music. Big Show comes running down. I believe he got one knock on to the Alberto Del Rio. At this time, the ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez, is in the ring, and Big Show pretty much demolishes him. He knocks out Ricardo out cold, and then that's the end of it. And so we have Big Show. Austin comes out and announces Big Show versus he comes out he comes on the screen, and he comes out and he says, hey, Alberto Del Rio's running through the parking lot, but you can still hear me. You're going to have a match at Capital Punishment against the Big Show. So that match is announced for Capital Punishment. And then we go to break, and we come back with a 6-man tag pitting Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and Wade Barrett versus Ezekiel Jackson, Sin Cara, and Daniel Bryan. and we go through a back and forth matchup. We pretty much see all the competitors in at one time. We see them wrestling each other, and we see Ezekiel Jackson versus Wade Barrett, which we've seen at the past 2 pay-per-views. Ezekiel does basically his moveset where he just, body slams him like 3 times and then sets him up for the torture rack. And he sets him up for the torture rack, and Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase come in and break that up. While that happens, they beat him down a little bit. He shrugs them off, and Ezekiel knocks them out of the ring with I believe, a double clothesline. I'm talking about Rhodes and DiBiase, and he tags in. Sin Cara asks for the tag. Sin Cara gets tagged in. We see a springboard. Sin Cara gets tagged in by Zeke. We see Sin Cara setting up for a springboard move. We see Sin Cara nail the springboard into a crossbody, and he pins Wade Barrett for the win. So the winners of the 6-man tag are Sin Cara, Daniel Bryan, and Big Ezekiel Jackson. We go to break. We come back and we see Hornswoggle in the ring, shooting off with, if you've ever been to a WWE live event, sometimes they've shown it on Raw, but basically, if you've been to a WWE Raw or a live event, they have this air gun thing that they shoot t-shirts into the crowd. So, we see Hornswoggle with that in his hands, and, R-Truth comes out and breaks that up, and he goes, he asks Hornswoggle if he could try that, and he tells him not to be scared because he's a good Truth and he won't attack him. Sorry, I'm kind of reading off my my iPhone because it was 3 hours and I was going back and forth between that and the Bruins game. We see Truth and Hornswoggle in the ring, and Truth again, tells him he's a good Truth and don't be scared. He tells him he's going to beat John Cena to become the WWE Champion this Sunday at Capital Punishment. And Truth goes towards Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle shoots a couple t-shirts into Truth's stomach. He kind of brushes it off like it didn't really hurt him. Then Truth gets pissed off and goes to choke Hornswoggle, and he says that he's sorry and tries to apologize. Hornswoggle says, I guess Truth said that he was sorry and he tried to apologize, and then kicks him in the head and stares into the crowd. Stone Cold interrupts on the Titantron and says, "Hey, Truth, you have an opponent tonight. You're not getting off scotch-free. You're gonna have to wrestle tonight." And we see our Stone Cold say that he's going to face his opponent, and his opponent comes through next to Austin on the Titantron, and it's the returning John Morrison. So we believe that it's going to be John Morrison versus R-Truth. And Jerry Lawler, we go back to the ring where Hornswoggle's laying in there, and we see Jerry Lawler go check on Hornswoggle, and that sends it to a break. We come back, and standing in the ring is Sheamus and Santino Marella. We see a Santino-Sheamus match. The winner, this was pretty much a squash match. Santino got his Cobra and a couple other moves, but it was pretty much a squash match. Sheamus hits the bro kick, and then we see Sheamus not go for the high cross or whatever he calls that. I call it the Razor's Edge because that's what it looks like to me. We see Sheamus go for a submission move, which we've never seen Sheamus, not to my knowledge, use a submission move in the WWE. So, and he used the Texas Cloverleaf that was patented by, of course, none other than the man of 1,000 homes, Dean Malenko. which was kind of cool. Maybe he's got a new move in his arsenal. So that match was winner is Sheamus by a submission. Crap, sorry. Like I said, it was 3 hours. I can't remember all, so I gotta kind of going by my notes on my phone. Okay, so we basically see another promo. Basically, the night followed. We had a match, promo, match, promo, match, promo, match, promo, match, promo, so on. So Randy Orton comes out and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna win," and capital punishment. Christian. Why don't you come out here? I'm not gonna attack you. Blah blah blah. Christian, and then he says, "Oh wait, I'm just joking. I was gonna attack you at the first chance I got." And Christian finally comes out, and we see them, jar back and forth between the ring and the stage. Orton goes out to attack him. Security comes out and blocks him. We hear do-do-do, a little bit of, the GM thing. Michael Cole says, "Oh, Randy Orton, you're not going to attack him. I'm not going to allow you to compete tonight," because apparently he got a concussion on Friday night's last week's SmackDown, and he won't let him compete or do any physicality here tonight. And then Randy Orton tries to attack him, and we hear another do-do-do, and Michael Cole announces, "Well, if you don't comply with my request, you will be stripped of the World Heavyweight title." So that was basically it. Randy Orton didn't want to get stripped of the title. And then the general manager says, when Randy Orton goes off screen, that he is not unstoppable here tonight, and he's going to have a match. And we hear that he's going to have a match with Rey Mysterio, and that match is next. This match was, back and forth, and Christian got a few moves in, Ray gets a few moves in, and then the Nexus comes down and distracts Rey Mysterio. We see Rey Mysterio go for the 619, and the Batista 2 rips him out of the ring, picks him up and slams against the ring post. So we have a winner of Rey Mysterio by disqualification, thanks to the new Nexus and Batista 2. So we go into we see in the back Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler, aka I call him Billy Gunn Jr. Stone Cold's on the phone, and Vicky says her in an annoying voice, excuse me, or however she does it, and Vicky asks for a United States Championship match at Capital Punishment against Kofi Kingston, and Stone Cold jokes and says, "Yeah, I'll give you that match on one condition, Dolph. If you dump Vicky Guerrero as your manager / business partner, you don't need her." He, says that when he came in as the ringmaster, yeah, he had a manager, and of course it was, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and that, he dumped that after a while to become Stone Cold that he was and we all loved. That was it, and then he also joked, "Oh, well, just kidding." Dolph agrees that he'll dump her, and he said, "Hey, I was just having a little fun with you. I already signed that match for Capital Punishment." So we have a United States Championship match at Capital Punishment this Sunday. We come back with a tag team match after the break. Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger versus Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston. We see a back and forth matchup. Swagger, we pretty much see the finisher. Swagger goes for the Swagger Bomb, but Kofi gets his knees up and tags to Bourne, and chaos ensues. Dolph tries to get out of the ring, but gets knocked to the outside. And then we basically see Evan Bourne hit the shooting. Kofi Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise on Jack Swagger, and then we see Evan Bourne hit the Shooting Star Press and picks up the 1-2-3 victory. So Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston are your winners of your tag team match. Then we go to break, and we come back with Piper's Pit with Rowdy Piper. Rowdy Piper comes out to a standing ovation, and he comes into the ring, and he says, basically, Alex Riley is going to win on Sunday.